Hi guys, welcome to the last video for Milestones review. Today we're just going to look at some stuff that we didn't get to review in class, which is systems of equations. So there will be some of these types of questions on your test, but the good thing is this was the last unit that we did, so it still should be pretty fresh in your mind. So let's look at the review tips first. So remember, a system of equations is just where you have either two lines on a graph or two equations that you have to solve for both x and y. So a solution to a system of equations is a point where the two lines intersect. So like if you had two lines and they cross each other like that, the solution would be the ordered pair where they meet, right? If they never meet and they're parallel lines, that would have no solution. So one solution is when they touched once, no solution is when they're parallel, infinite solution is when it's the same line. Okay, I'm going to go close the door. I'll be right back. Pause. And then there are a few ways you can solve a system of equations. So the first one we did was graphing, where you graph them both. The second way was substitution. We call that the blob method. Where you look for an equation that looks like this, and you insert whatever it is, like this one's negative 3x plus 1. You insert that into the other equation for whatever it's equal to. So this blob equals y. So you would go to the y and put the blob wherever the y is, and it would look like that. And you solve for x. Okay, the next way was elimination, where you set them up and you look for something that will eliminate. So like here you had a negative 2x and a positive 2x, and those will cancel each other out when they're stacked on top of each other. So there's elimination, and then there might be some word problems. We didn't get to that. We'll do that after the milestones, but there might be some more problems on there. Okay, so number one, what is the solution to the system? Remember, the solution is where the two ordered pair, or the two lines cross each other, and it will be an ordered pair. So right here on this graph, the solution is this point right there. So then you just find the coordinates. So the coordinates for this are negative 1 and 3. Negative 1 and 3. That's B. Okay, so number 2 is asking which graph shows the solution to a system of equations. So here you're going to have to like match up the two lines to the right answer choice. So let's look first. So y equals negative 2x plus 1, and then y equals negative 3 over 2x, and then for this one the y-intercept is 0. Okay? So you have two equations. Now both of them have a negative slope, so circle the slope. Both of them have a slope that is negative. This one has a y-intercept of positive 1, and this one has a y-intercept of 0. So let's match. Let's try to use process of elimination. Now, since I know that both of these have a negative slope, I'm going to eliminate the ones that have any kind of positive lines. So if you look at B, this line is puff puff positive, right? So you need them both to be a negative slope. So it can't be B. And it also can't be D, because that one also has a positive line. So we're looking at 2. It's either A or C. So let's look for our first equation. It's y equals negative 2x plus 1. So the y-intercept is positive 1. So let's go over here. All right, that matches up. Now our slope is negative 2. So I should be able to go down 2 and right 1 and hit that line. Now here I did hit a line, but it's not the right line. I should have hit this line, but that's not what happened. If you go down 2 and right 1, you don't meet this original line. So that one's wrong. And then for this one, the y-intercept was 0, and your slope was negative 3 over 2. So if you go down 3 and right 2, this line works, but this line does not. The slope is not correct, so it's not A. The correct answer choice here is C. because the negative 2x plus 1, start here, go down 2, and write 1, and you end up on that line. So that's right. Okay. Number 3 says, what is the solution to the system? So it's y equals negative 2x plus 1. So this tells me that I need to use the blob method because my y is isolated. So circle that. That's your blob. And my blob is equal to y, so that means it's going to go right there in the other equation. So I actually have out some other paper that I need to write this on because I don't have room enough here. Okay, so I'm rewriting the second equation. It's 2x plus 3y, but instead of y, I'm putting parentheses and whatever's inside the blob, negative 2x plus 1. And that equals 19. Okay. Draw your line. Now the first thing you need to do is distribute, of course. Multiply. This is a positive 3 times a negative 2. It's negative 6x. And then positive 3 times 1 is positive 3. And then do variable constant. Make the 3 negative. Okay, add those together and you get negative 4x and 16. Divide by negative 4, and x equals negative 4. Okay, so let's see if we can find one of the answer choices where the x is a negative 4. Okay, so I have negative 4 here, and hey, that's my only negative 4, so I actually don't have to solve for y here because none of the other x values are negative 4, so it has to be that one. If you wanted to, you can go ahead and solve for y. So I always tell you guys to go back to the blob equation, which is y equals negative 2x plus 1. And use your answer from this part for, so like whatever answer you got on this part, use that for x. So x equals negative 4, so I'm going to change that to a negative 4. So y equals negative 2 times negative 4 plus 1. And then you multiply those and get 8. 8 plus 1 is 9, which is what the answer choice says. Okay. Which step could be completed in order to prepare the system of equations below for the elimination method? Now remember, in the elimination method, you need to have the numbers lined up, and you need to have something that will cancel out. So like a positive 5. Right here, you would need this one to be a negative 5. You need the same number, opposite signs. So you would need like a positive 5 or a negative 5, or a negative 3 and a positive 3, or a positive 6 and a negative 6, something like that where it will eliminate. You don't have that here, so you're going to have to do something. And this problem is asking you what will you have to multiply one of the equations by to get that, that answer that will eliminate. So this one says multiply the first equation by negative 2. If you multiply this equation by negative 2, you would get, I'm just going to write it here, negative 10x, because 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6y. And then 10 times negative 2 is negative 20. So then you would have a negative 10 and a 8. That would not eliminate. And then you would have a positive 6 and a positive 6. That would also not eliminate. It would need to be a positive 6 and a negative 6. So that's not right. If you multiply the second equation by positive 2, you would get 16x and 12y. And that's not going to eliminate with a 3 or a 5, so it's not that one. Multiply the first equation by 2. So let's see what that will give us. Because we tried negative 2. So if you multiply 5x times 2, it's 10x. Negative 3y times 2 is negative 6y. And then 10 times 2 is 20. So if you did that, then you would have a negative 6y and a positive 6y, and that would eliminate. So that would need to be the first thing that you did. And the answer is C. Okay. Number 5 says, what is the solution to a system of equations? This is like one of the ones I showed you guys where they're both blob equations. So go ahead and circle them both. And these are actually even easier to do than the traditional Blau equations that we just did on number 3. So what you do for these is you set up an equation and you just make the two blobs equal each other, like this. So negative 2x plus 1 equals, that's the first blob, equals the second blob, negative 4 over 7x plus 1. Oops. Just like that. And then you just do variable constant method with the numbers. So you have this one. Okay, so your variables are negative 2x and 4 over 7. Constants negative 1 and positive 1. I'm going to use my calculator for this one. So it's negative 2 plus 4/7. And that's negative 10 over 7. This adds up to 0. And then divide. Anything divided by 0 divided by anything is just 0. So x equals 0. Okay, now let's look and see if we can find that answer somewhere. Yeah, the only one that has 0 in the x area is A. This one 0 is a y. Okay. So number 6 says, what is the best estimate of the solution to the system? So remember, the solution is where they cross. So this one, it's in between numbers, so we're going to have to figure it out. So here it looks like maybe it's negative 1.567, negative 1 point something for our x value. So it's definitely not negative 2.3, and it's definitely not negative 2.8. So it's either B or C. And then my y value is right before 2, so somewhere close to 2, above 1 though. It's definitely not right at positive 1. So the answer would be C. Okay. Number 7 is a word problem, so let's look at it. I'm going to grab my highlighter. In a barn, there are 17 animals. Some are cows and some are ducks. There are 54 legs in all. Which system of equations below could be used to find how many cows and how many ducks are in the barn? So let's define our variables first. So we have C and D. C stands for the number of cows, right? D stands for the number of ducks, because that's what the problem is asking us. How many cows and how many ducks are in the barn? So then we need to see what our totals are. You always look for the two total amounts in the problem when you're trying to set it up. So one of the totals is 17. There are 17 animals, cows and ducks. So when you add the cows and the ducks, you have 17 total animals. So one of the equations should be cows plus ducks equals 17. So that helps you eliminate B. Okay, and then it says there are 54 legs. So to do this problem, I like this problem because you have to know how many legs a duck has and how many legs a cow has. So a cow has 4 legs and a duck has 2 legs. So that's going to help us figure out what this equation will say. So the number of cows is going to, it tells us there are 54 legs in all. So our equation is going to equal 54 legs. So when we set it up, we need to know that a cow has 4 legs. So 4 legs per cow plus 2 legs, ducks have 2 legs, so 2 legs per duck equals 54 total legs. So this one says something crazy, so I don't know what that is. And then this one's, the totals are messed up. We already crossed that one out. And then here, this one says 4 legs per cow plus 2 legs per duck equals 54. The answer is A. This one says 2 legs per cow. Cows don't have 2 legs, ducks don't have 4 legs, so the numbers are in the wrong spot. Okay? Okay. Here's another. The sum of two numbers is 3. So sum means add. The word is means equals, and then 3 is the total. Okay, their difference means subtract. Is means equals, and then 13 is the other total. So let's define our variables. X is one number, Y is the other number, and then let's set it up. So the sum of the two numbers, so X plus Y, is 3, equals 3. The difference of the numbers, so when you subtract them, you get 13. Let's find out what to do here. So you have, I'll have you guys put some 1s in front. This problem is set up perfectly for elimination because you have a positive 1y and a negative 1y. So cross those out. And then add 13 plus 3, and then 1x plus 1x. Divide by 2, and x equals 8. So that's one of our numbers. So 8 is the x, so that means I can eliminate C and D. Okay? Now we need to find the y, because it's either 5 or negative 5. So go back here, x plus y equals 3. The sum of them is 3. Now we know that x is 8, we can change this guy to an 8. 8 plus y equals 3, subtract 8, and y equals 3 minus 8, which is negative 5. So it's B. Okay. All right. Number 9. So it says, which statement is true of the system of equations below? So it's either one solution, 0, 4, one solution, 4, 0, infinite, or no solution. This is set up for elimination, but I do need to multiply one of these by negative 1 because I have a 7 and a 7. Those are both positive 7s, but I need one of them to be negative. So I'm going to multiply the top by negative 1. So negative 3x, negative 7y, and negative 14. Rewrite the bottom. Okay, now what I'm noticing here is that when I did that, everything eliminates. The x's eliminate and the y's eliminate, so you're just left with 0 equals whatever you get when you add those together. Negative 14 plus 10 is negative 4. So this is actually a no solution system. So it's D. Okay. Number 10 is also kind of lined up so where we can eliminate, but we have to multiply one of the equations by something. So a 2 and a 4, you could multiply the top number to change this to a negative 4, but I'm just going to make this into a negative 3 because it's just easier. Well, it's the same, but I'm just going to make that a negative 3. Multiply by negative 3 because that'll make that a negative 3y and it'll eliminate. Okay? So negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Negative 3 times 1y is negative 3y. And negative 3 times 10 is negative 30. Now my y's will eliminate. Okay? 6x, or negative 6x plus 4x is negative 2x. And then negative 30 plus 15 is negative 15. Divide by negative 2. And when you do that, you get 7.5 for x. The only one with 7.5 is B. Okay. So which graph shows the solution? This one is super easy because it's already set up for elimination. We don't even have to multiply one of the equations. So the positive 1y and the negative 1y cancel each other out. And then you add 1x plus 1x, 4 plus negative 2, and divide. So we know x equals 1. And then we can take our answer from this part and put it back in here for x. So x plus y equals 4. So our x is a 1. So 1 plus y equals 4. Subtract 1, and y equals 3. So my solution is 1, 3. only one that has that is D. Solution is 1, 3, right there. Okay. Infinite solutions. Which system of equations would have infinite solutions? So, you need to know an infinite solution, it's like whenever you try to solve it, you're going to get, up here we got for no solution, 0 equals -4. But on infinite solution, the variables will cancel out and you will get the same number. So let's try this one. We'll do the blob. So we're going to put our blob right here where the y is. So I'm just going to write it. So instead of 2y, I'm putting 2 parentheses 2x plus 6 equals 4x plus 12. Distribute that, and I get 2 times 2, 4x, 2 times 6, 12. So I'm already noticing here that I have a 4x plus 12 on both sides, which means it's going to be infinite solution. But let's keep solving. My variable is 4x and -4x. My constant is 12 and -12. And like I thought, those both cancel out and you get 0 equals 0. So this one is infinite solution. Alright guys, that concludes this video. I think everything else in the packet is pretty much done. You guys can definitely make sure that you look over everything in the packet this weekend whenever you have time to get ready for Monday. Alright, bye guys.